Hey everyone. This week's video is a little different because I've been busy doing a lot of work, trying to make a lot of products so that I can photograph it because I'm trying to work on opening up my own website before the end of the year. And one of the things that I was doing is I was actually working on some Christmas presents, for some friends of mine, and, um, they're big, really big Disney fans, and I was making personalized Disney ornaments for them. This is one of them, and that's the other one. So I was making these ornaments, and there are a lot of really big Disney fans out there, and Disney is big money. And I thought, well, you know what? Why don't I just, since I'm doing this anyway, why don't I just go ahead and make a video of it in case somebody is um, thinking, what can they do? Something really special and something one of a kind, because no matter how many of these that you make at the same time, each one is just going to not be quite the same as the other one. So these definitely are one of a kind gifts. And if you have some Disney fans, you can make these and they look like they're professionally bought. And obviously they're one of a kind. No one else will ever have something like that. So I was making these and I made a video. You're going to have to kind of forgive the video quality. I'm still waiting for some equipment to come in so that I can do more videos like that, more like tutorial videos, especially if I'm doing like spell work. So I'm still waiting for the equipment to come in. So this was kind of an impromptu thing. It's not really close up, but if you do like the full screen shot on your computer, you'll be able to see a little bit better. So I hope you guys really enjoy this video. Okay, so to do this, you're going to need a couple of things. I think I have everything up here that you're going to need. So for the wreath itself, this is bright green pearl. And with pearls, there's like an iridescent shimmer in all the pearls that make it a little bit different from a regular clay. This is Primo, and then the rest of it, oh, that one's Primo. The rest of it is all Sculpey 3. So this is Primo. It's bright green pearl, and this is Emerald. So I will be making a Skinner blend of these two for the wreath part. For the lights and decorations, this is deep red pearl, and there's a shimmer. I don't know if you're able to see the shimmer, but there's a shimmer in that. This is acid yellow. This is violet. This is ultramarine blue, and then this is gold. So I will be making the lights and decorations out of these. Now, you don't need this. You can just roll them out into snakes if you want to. But for the smaller portions, I will be using this. And this is actually the Sculpey silicone mold kit for beads and bezels and stuff. And this is a bakeable mold. I never bake in it though. You're going to need some sort of needle tool. It needs to be a very small point needle tool because you're going to be fluffing up, poking in and fluffing up. You're going to need a small brush, very small brush. A small tool like a nail tip, or this is actually a little tiny, oops, I'm going off camera, a little tiny nail daughter. You need a tissue blade, a craft knife, an acrylic roller, liquid clay. This is translucent liquid clay. And that's the Sculpey brand. And Sculpey gloss. Some people use Mod Podge, but Mod Podge still feels sticky, so I use gloss. And you're also going to need a pasta machine. So the first thing you do is you create a Skinner blend. Okay, so now what I do is I run this through my pasta machine. My thickest setting is a 7. So I run it through this way so that these will start to blend together. Okay, so that's what you get. Then you fold it, turn it, and run it through again like that. So you can see that the colors are starting to blend together. You keep doing this until you get a blend that you like. Okay, so this is what it looks like after I have run it through 12 times. So what I'm going to do at this point, because I just want the colors to mend together, so I'm folding the light onto the dark, and then I'm going to run it through my pasta machine that way. So I've run it through my pasta machine twice so far, and as you can see, we're starting to get like a little bit of a blend going here. And then this is the other side where you can see that this is actually all the white. You've got the dark in the back, but you've got the lighter kind of like on the surface. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to keep folding it like this. I'm going to keep running it through that way because I want the colors to blend together. I want that pearl in there, but I also want to lighten up this darker green. And I want to give it a dimension. So that's why I'm doing these two different colors blended together. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here, and you can see that there is you can see that there's dimension in this. The light stops here, there's dark here, there's dark there, and then on the other side as well, you can see where there's the dark, and it has that nice dimension to it. So what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start rolling it together, knock out any air bubbles. Okay. What you want to do is you want to work it. And you have to work it to soften it up. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut off 2 pieces. Roll them into snakes and make sure that the air bubbles are out. Okay. Take this and start feeding it in. It's going to be too small, so I'm going to add this in. You don't have to worry about having too much. Okay. Just start pressing it in. Make sure it's nice and flat in the mold. Take your tissue blade. You want to make sure you get this fairly even, but it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to squash it out anyway. So don't worry about any of the ridges that you're getting here. Okay. Out. So you just roll it, press down a little bit with it. You want to press out those ridges. Okay. And then you can just smooth it with your fingertip. And then the ridges are gone. Place it on your tile and roll it. And then all the way. All the way. There we go. That's it. Now you don't have to worry about any of these marks that are around the side here, because what you're going to do is you're going to take a needle tool and you're going to start digging in. When I say digging in, I mean digging in. Dig it. Just dig and pull. You kind of dragging the clay out. And you're doing this in like every direction. Don't worry if you have like clay pieces flying off anywhere, because you can kind of push it back in, make it meet up. Now you don't want to go crazy. You don't want to be hitting the tile underneath. You just want to do this pretty gently. But you do want to start like really like pulling in. And don't forget to kind of fluff it, make it stand up. So when you're doing this, pull it up. And then don't forget the sides too. You want to make sure you're getting everything. Kind of really wonking up that side there. That's not all what I want to do. There we go. I'll move my hands in the way a little bit. I'll keep going on this side then. Now when you're starting to get to this point, it might be a little hard to hold it. You can always use your needle tool, your dot tool I should say. And that's what you get. And if I can do it, there we go. You can see it's all fluffy. So I'm going to put that off to the side. And I'm going to work on the next one. Now for the larger part of the wreath. So basically what you're going to do, you're going to cut off a piece and you're going to kind of roll it down. So you kind of want to join this. So you really have to have a good meld on this. And one of the things, because you really don't have to watch what you're doing, because you're going to be pretty much destroying this. And kind of pull that together. And then it's only the back side you really have to worry about smoothing. So whichever side you're going to use for the back, but you have to make sure that the inside is smoothed out too. And you kind of want to press it to make it a little more uniform. So it's okay if you kind of pull it once you get it to the shape that you want. There you go. And then you're going to do the same thing with this. You're going to start digging, digging, digging. And you're going to create the wreath. Now, if you have a part that's kind of crappy, that doesn't like this part right down here, there's like, it seems like there's like not enough as opposed to like the rest of the wreath, don't panic, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something to write somebody's name on it. So this can all be covered up with, it's going to look like a ribbon with the name on it. So don't worry about that. If you have one part that's like a little bit lower than the rest of it, no big deal. So now you're going to clean up. I forgot to mention wet wipes. You're going to clean up your tile. You can do this on white paper too. I prefer to do it on a tile because it's like really easy to just access everything. I also bake on ceramic tiles because it's easier to get it into the toaster oven. So now I'm done with that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start on making the lights. Now when you make the lights, you really don't have to have a lot. I mean, like, that'll probably do you for all 3 wreaths. So, okay. Now these are going to be really, really, really minuscule. So you're going to have a lot of patience when you're doing this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a tiny, like that tiny, okay? You're going to roll it into a ball. Then you're going to go to one part of it and kind of roll it down so it has a little bit of a point to it, okay? Then you can take your needle tool or your ball tool, pick it up. Now, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because what I do is I usually roll all these out first and then I go around. What you're going to do is you're going to use this. You're going to paint a little dot and then you're going to press it into place. So right now I'm just going to work on making all the tiny little lights before I get into gluing it down. Okay, so now I want to make little poinsettias. I'm actually going to cut these down. Okay. So again, roll it into a ball. Come on. There you go. And then make it oblong on one end. Thin it out. Like that. Take your roller. Even pressure. There it is. Pull the end together like that. There's one petal. It's okay. It can still work. Do. So I'll take this and put a little bit. That's way too much. Way too much. Okay, so this is the towel I'm going to be baking it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start moving everything onto it. Okay. Now what you want to do is you want to find the right position. There we go. You want to, this is the bakeable clay. Now it's not, it doesn't bake clear. So you want to make sure that this is in places where you won't see it. And then what you do is you take a needle tool and you kind of meld that together. There you go. Okay, so next, you're going to start putting all your little lights on. Okay, so now I want to build up the poinsettia. That'd be nice for a mini one, if you're making Minnie Mouse. Okay. Maybe a couple more. Okay, I think that's good. Put this to the side. Now, I said that I was going to make a nameplate. So this is what you do for the nameplate. Let's move that to the side and clean that up. So you're going to take your gold. I'm going to run this through my pasta machine a couple of times to condition it, and then when I finally have it, you know, nice and pliable, I'm going to put this on my second thickest setting, which is going to be a number 5. Remember, 7 is my thickest, so I'm going to run this through on a number 5 once I have it conditioned. So here we go. This is how thin it is. So what you're going to do is you're going to have 2 straight edges. And it's going to be fairly thin. And then you cut here and cut here. Pick all this up. Okay. So what you're going to do, pick that up. You're going to make sure that this is, yeah, it's perfect. Okay. Actually, I'm going to leave it here so I can work with it. But I'm going to get rid of this because I need the room. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay this out. And you're going to see where you need it. Now what you're going to do is you're going to fold it. Kind of like that. See? See how that got folded? And you're going to do it kind of like offset at an angle. Okay? And then you come over here and you do the same thing. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let me see. So this was sticking up a little bit more. There we go. So now that will fit on there perfectly. Okay? So what you do, get your clay. Actually, probably easier to do it on this and then press it in. And then you know exactly where it needs to be connected. There we go. Perfect. Flip it back over and position it and then press it in. Okay, now what you want to do with this is you want to come over here and you want to make these little cuts like that. And then all you do is bake this. So this is, because this is Sculpey, you bake this at 275, and I would bake this for, about an hour and a half, the way it is right now. And then when you take it out, then you gloss it up with that. So what I'll do is I'll stick this in the oven, I will bake this, and then we will be back so you can see what it is, how it looks, and how to gloss it. Okay, so we're back. It's actually the next day, so that's probably why this shot has changed so much. So I actually did another one. You can see differences that I did. Instead of just having like the poinsettia and the lights, I did little Christmas balls, and then I did holly leaves right there. and you can probably see the difference and the shininess. I've already gone ahead and done a layer of the gloss on this one. And the reason why I did that is because I want to show you what to do with this part. And it's important to already have this glossed, because when you're writing a name on it, if you're using, like, I like to use acrylic paint just in case you mess up. You can take water, wipe it off, and restart. Of course, if you use, like I also have these metallic markers. You could write the name. I do prefer to paint it on just in case I make a mistake. I can wipe it out. But if you don't gloss this first, if you start writing the name and you don't gloss it, the paint can seep into the pores that you have in here, and then it's going to stain. So the most important thing to do is gloss this part before you start writing any names on it. Also, one thing that I did not cover when I was doing this, if you're going to insert pins to hold the ribbon, it's easier, much easier to do it when it's wet. You can just push it right in, and then it bakes up as part of it. As you can see here, I had to glue that one onto the back because I forgot. And then this one, I was able to drill down a bit, but you can see it caused a crack. So it's, if you're going to have like a little hook in there, it's better to do that while it is still wet. So what you're going to do is you're going to, because this is so dug into, what you're going to do is basically, you're going to take a bunch of gloss and you're just going to kind of tap it into, I mean, you are going to glob it on, because that's exactly what I did with this one. I just globbed it on, and you can see it does dry clear. So you don't have to worry about it looking like this. Your Sculpey gloss will dry clear. But one of the reasons, well, actually two of the reasons why you want to get it in there is not only because, obviously, you want to make sure it has a uniform glossiness. You don't want it to look dull inside in the wreath part and then glossy on the top. But also, all these little chips and pieces that kind of got hacked up while we were carving the wreath part, the gloss, you know, while you're brushing this on, they're going to start coming up. And sometimes they'll get caught in your brush. You have to clean your brush off. But like that. It's a perfect example. So all these little pieces are going to come up. But if you get them trapped in the gloss part here, and you're able to kind of smooth it in there, the gloss will actually help hold it onto the wreath part once it dries. So that's why, another reason you really want to glob this shit on. And then you're just going to keep doing that all over the wreath. You're going to go through like a lot of gloss on this. But the end result is very worth it. I mean, these are like super cute if you have Disney fans. They aren't going to know you handmade this stuff because it looks really cute. As long as you don't like make the mistakes I made with this. Because I forgot. And that's because I was like recording the video and I was worried about time frame and this and that, and I didn't have my mind completely on my project. And unfortunately, when you video record, sometimes that happens. And it's great in terms of if you make a mistake, you can see what happens when you make a mistake and see how to correct it. But in terms of trying to get, you know, one shot perfection, it sucks. So, and just make sure I have inside the wreaths. And this is another reason why I like to use ceramic tiles for all of this polymer clay, because they're super easy to clean up. You can just take like a blade. You can go to the dollar store. They have like these little like scraper blades there. You can take a little blade and clean up gloss, leftover baked on clay. It'll clean right up. And also, you know, you cook on it. You can mold on it. You take it right out of the oven, and you can do this, and then you just clean it up. And also, because it's really, when you're doing with the gloss, you know, it's going to get sticky and everything. If you, if your gloss kind of slops over, you're not going to have to worry about, like if you did this on paper, of like the paper getting stuck to this and having to peel the paper off. You don't have to worry about it. Because there's a glaze on the tile already, nothing seeps into it. It stays on the surface, and you can just pop it all up. And the tiles are pretty cheap to get too. This tile actually cost me 46 cents. I believe it's a 6x6 tile, and I just went to Home Depot and paid 46 cents for this. That smaller one that's off to the side, I think I paid 19 cents for. And the larger tile that I was working on before, I think they were like $1.50 each. So, you know, investing in the tiles it's not going to break your bank. So that's always a positive sign when you're working in clay, because colored clay, if you're working in colored clay, it could get quite expensive. And that's another thing too. You know, some people might want to do this with the white clay, because obviously you can get white clay a lot cheaper than if you were purchasing the colors. And that's fine, if that's what you want to do. But it's not going to be, your project isn't going to be as easy as this was, because then you're going to have to paint the clay, and you're going to have to get into all these little like nooks and crannies here. You could spray paint it, but even then, you're going to have to do like 2, 3, 4 coats just to make sure that you get inside all these crannies. And I do use like white clay for a lot of like base molding products, like with my bracelets, and then I put a veneer of color on top of it. But in this case, you're gonna want to really, it's really better to use that instead of try to use white clay for all of this and then paint it. Or what you could do is, if you have alcohol inks like Tim Holtz, you could take the white clay and dye it with the alcohol inks, and that's a way to save some money on that too. But these things aren't terribly expensive anyway. The blocks are about like $2.50 each. If you already have clay, then it's not a big deal. But if you have to buy the clay, let's see, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So to do this whole project here would probably cost you less than $10. And you could probably, you know, if you're using the combination color of the green, you could probably make about, oh, I don't know, maybe I would say 6 probably might be the high end of this. You could definitely make 4, possibly 6, depending on how you stretch it out. So if you were, you know, $10 to make 6 ornaments, and then they look like they're professional, that's not a bad investment at all. And then because you use so little of the other colors, you still have all those other colors, and you can make other ornaments. Like I make Christmas stocking ornaments. So you could use the white, and then you use a veneer of the color, and then it saves you, you know, a lot of money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here And I'm going to show you how I finish this up. So, now this is folk art. This is enamels and licorice. I like this because it has that nice shine to it. And then once you finish painting this over and it's dried, you're going to gloss it again to protect it. And then you're done. So I just take a very fine line. Now see, I'm not liking how that's coming out. I don't like it. So all you have to do, I'm going to clean off the brush too. Okay. And you see, that's why you glaze it first, because now there's no stain on it and I can start over. In fact, I think I'm going to start in the middle this time. I think I'm finally happy with that. And even if I wasn't, I'm done. I'm not doing that anymore. So, there really isn't anything else to do that I haven't told you that I'm going to do. Once this is dry, I'm going to put another coat of the Sculpey gloss on it to protect it. And then I'm going to run a ribbon through that little hook right there, and then that's it. And then once this is dry, I write that name on there, gloss it, run the ribbon through, and done. So that is the project on how to make these cute little Disney fan ornaments, personalized ornaments. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you go out and try it.